Now, we know there are going to be a lot of questions for people moving forward about this vaccine. Cristin Severance and a team here at KGW have been dedicated to finding those answers for you by working with experts. Cristin's back for us now. Cristin, what are people asking about today?
All right, this is a good question. So several viewers have written in asking if one spouse qualifies for a vaccine. So someone over 65, a doctor or a nurse, would the other spouse who does not fit the qualification criteria also get the vaccine? According to the Oregon Health Authority, because there is currently a very limited quantity of the vaccine for distribution, only those in vulnerable populations, so those healthcare workers, people over 65, people in long-term care facilities, will receive the vaccine in the first phases. This means that spouses and family members of those receiving vaccines will not qualify to receive the vaccine unless they too belong to a priority group.
Okay, interesting. Now look, at the risk of getting too technical here, people have been curious about what exactly is in these vaccines? What are people going to be injecting into their bodies?
Okay, this is going to be technical, but I will make it easy to understand. So both the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines rely on messenger RNA rather than the live virus that caused COVID-19. So this is a type of molecule that transports copies of genetic instructions that cells use to build proteins. Both vaccines use something called lipid nanoparticles, and remember that because that'll come up. I'm not going to have a quiz or anything, but that will come up later. Those lipid nanoparticles will encase and protect the genetic instructions. And the vaccines, this is very interesting to me, also contain salts for acidity reasons, and they also contain common sugar to keep the nanoparticles from sticking together.
Oh, that's simple, huh? Okay, good. I'm glad smart people are working on this stuff for us. Now, I've been reading a lot about the relationship between the vaccine and people who have severe allergies. We saw some adverse reactions as soon as this started going out to people in healthcare as early as the vaccine being administered in the UK. What do we really know about the connection there?
Yeah, is the vaccine safe for people with severe allergies? A lot of people wondering that. I have to warn you, this is a long answer, but we've gotten this question so many times that I really want to give you all the details and all the context here. So the CDC announced that people who have experienced severe reactions to prior vaccines can and should still get the COVID-19 vaccine. But talk to your doctor first about the risks. All vaccine providers should be able to provide medical treatment in the case of an allergic reaction, and they must monitor patients, for 30 minutes after the shot. You may remember, those two healthcare workers in the UK who received the vaccine. They suffered from serious allergic reaction. They have recovered, but the cause of the reactions has yet to be determined. And then on Tuesday in Alaska, a healthcare worker had a similar reaction to the vaccine. That person does not have a history of drug allergies, but it's unclear if they have other allergies. These allergic reactions are being monitored by the federal officials. But it's important to note the thousands and thousands of people who successfully have been vaccinated so far, and the risk of a severe allergic reaction is extremely low. Now, this is also interesting. Unlike some vaccines, both the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines do not have preservatives or egg products, which have triggered allergic reactions from other types of vaccines in the past, and people with allergies to food, latex, pollen, any other substances do not need to take special precautions and are recommended to receive the Pfizer vaccine. And Dan, in the U.S., regulators are only recommending against vaccination for people with an allergy to a specific ingredient to the vaccine, like the lipid nanoparticle that we mentioned before, a component in the vaccine.
Interesting. Now, look, I don't remember you ever going to med school, but you certainly sound like an MD during all of this. Can you explain to people a little bit how we're doing this research and how you're coming up with these answers?
That's so nice of you to say, because no, I am clearly not a doctor, but again, we do work with such smart people. We have a team working on all of these answers. Pat Doris is on our team. We work with these two brilliant fellows who do a ton of research for us, but we also, check sources, and we cross-check sources. CDC, FDA, we have several doctors, we have health experts we reach out to, and we're very transparent. You can go online. I always make sure to include the sources when I answer these questions. And then if you go to our website right now and read this article, you can see all of the places, we cite our sources, because it's important. It's important to know where we get our information.
Absolutely. It is. Cristin, thank you so much.
You bet.